My name is Matt Carl. I oversee the corporate communications department for Sea Alaska. I'm from Heidelberg. I'm Raven, double killer whale. I see some people from Heidelberg here. It's really good to see that. There's so much really good energy in the room right now, so we're going to try to keep this going. I have the honor of being able to introduce you guys to one of our own as Tlingit Haida and Tsimshian people. You guys know the connection that we have to the art. So I would like to bring up James Johnson. We're gonna have a little conversation here and just talk with you guys and just learn a little bit more about James. For those of you guys that aren't familiar with him, hopefully you guys will learn a little bit about his work and his passion and how he came to where he's at today. So James is originally from Juneau. His family, he's eagle killer whale, so we're a little bit different. I'm Raven double fin killer whale. So he'll tell you a little bit about himself. We just think that in this opportunity, I guess I should first say just what an honor it is for us to come down here. And we hope that whether there was one shareholder that showed up or 100, we just felt it was worth it to us to be able to recognize where our shareholders at. There are a lot of shareholders that are moving away from Alaska, which is to be expected, and everybody has their right to choose where they want to live. But what we do as a corporation is really try to maintain the connection that all of you guys have to who you are as people, your corporation, and so we really play. I think we take that role to heart, and so that's the reason why we're here. So if people ask questions, it's because we want to show up and we want to acknowledge where our shareholders are at, and so we're trying to make more of a concerted effort to do that. And so it just so happened that being down here, James lives in the area, and we've followed his work for a long time. James and I were actually high school basketball teammates, so I've known James for a really long time through our younger days in Juneau, and so for me it's a really distinct pleasure to be able to talk with James outside of locker room talk. So we'll I'll hand it over to James here in a minute, but I just wanted to kind of give you guys an idea of James's background. He's kind of a Renaissance man. That's how I describe him to people, and he probably doesn't know that, but he has a really unique blend of talents. He could teach you how to snowboard. He could teach you how to do form line art. He's really devoted himself over his last, I would say, 10 years or 15 years of his life to really get involved with the art and really dive into the art. And so he'll share a little bit more about that. And so, James, I'll turn it over to you for a quick introduction, and we'll have a conversation.
All right, Gunishish, Anushka, Yuhat Dusak, Tlingit, Na, Dakla Wadi, Ihat, Ish, Ahusu Kwan, Yasati, Gunishish. My name is James Johnson. I'm Tlingit Indian, born and raised in Juneau, Alaska, but I live here in Phoenix, Arizona. I've lived down here for the last 15 years. I belong to the Dakla Wadi clan. My family lineage is from Hutsu and Goon, Alaska. And I'm a Tlingit artist and carver, and I've been pursuing this art form for the last 15, 16 years now, down here in the Southwest. And let me just say, when I walked in, it was so great to see our people here gathered together, and thank you to Sea Alaska for that opportunity. You know, when you live down here in the Southwest, you know, Alaska is always home, no matter where you are. But walking in here, seeing our community, seeing our people together, I couldn't stop smiling. So thank you all for coming here and being here today. It's really wonderful to see everyone's faces.
Great, thanks, James. And we'll also have an opportunity for you guys to have questions after we have a little bit of a Q&A here. So James, tell us, so James is really, like I said, really unique. He has a partnership with Vans. I think there was Mike over here has a pair of the Vans shoes with James's design. And as you guys know, Vans is a global company. They sell shoes, they sell snowboards. And James, could you tell us a little bit about how that partnership started with Vans?
Yeah, to be a Tlingit artist, you know, it's not a hobby. It's not something you do on the weekends. You dedicate your whole life to this art form. It takes a lot of effort. It takes everything you have to learn it, to understand it, and to carry it forward. And so when I first pursued the art form, it took years and years of studying, years and years of looking at the work of our ancestors, because they set the standard for what we're doing today. And as artists, we're not there yet. There's still so much more to learn, still so much more to do. My heart is in creating traditional Tlingit pieces that can exist within our culture thousands of years ago. That's where my heart is at, in creating those pieces. But as an artist these days, you can exist in both the traditional and contemporary realms. And for me, living down here in the Southwest, I want to take Tlingit art. It's the most beautiful art in the world in my eyes, to places it hasn't gone before, and show it to people who haven't seen it. And so for me, I focus on the skill of becoming the best artist you could be. And you have to be open, you have to be positive, you have to put out this positive energy out there, and you start attracting these opportunities to you. And I believe that wholeheartedly. And so, for me, pursuing this art form, you focused on just being the best you could be, but you start attracting these opportunities. And as an artist, too, you have to have the courage to take those opportunities and trust your ability. Because if opportunity presents itself, it'll go right by you if you don't take it. And you're not going to be able to reach back and get it. And so, all the companies I work with Vans, Volcom, Libtech, Snowboards, Smartwool, Yeti, Google, you name it, I've worked with these brands. Vans, again, approached me. They said, we love what you're doing. We want to do a full collection with you. And that wasn't by accident either. I met everyone at Vans. I was asked to do carving in Denver at the biggest outdoor retailer show called SIA. It's all the brands are there showing products for the next year, and the retailers show up. And this is a global event. And the SIA asked me to come out and do carving at the event. And I said, yes, absolutely. That's something you don't fumble. You say yes and go do it. I drove 15 hours from here to Denver in a snowstorm to go carve. But you had 20,000 people a day coming through the door, right? And so Vans saw what I was doing and said, we love this. We love what you're doing. We want to do a collection with you. And that was in 2016. And he said, but my friend at Vans, he said, just be patient though, because the list of artists to do collections at Vans is huge, right? And I've been to Vans headquarters in Costa Mesa. It's like 5 Costco's put together. That's how big this place is. And every office and every person there has a real specific duty they do to make the company what it is. But then it wasn't until 2020 where they said, I got a text from my friend. He said, hey, this is Saturday night. He said, hey, we got Monday. We got to talk. And he called me Monday and said, hey, the higher-ups at Vans said it's time to do your collection. And I said, awesome, let's do it. And literally I got the call Monday, Tuesday morning, I had the whole mock-up of the whole collection I sent to him. That's the ideas I had for it. And then we spent 2 years of fine-tuning it, and then we released it to the public in 2022. But, working with a company like Vans, this big global brand, they treated the Tlingit art form with the utmost respect. And that's what it was about. It's respecting the art form, respecting the culture, respecting the heritage. And designing the shoes and have it hit market, and you see someone wearing it today. It's so awesome to see people wearing the shoes, and they went all over the world. But something even bigger than that was, as a people, as an artist, you cannot always just take and take and take all the time. You have to give. And so with Vans, we set up a program where I said, we're going to donate a portion of the proceeds from this collection back to Juneau, back to Alaska. We donated it back to Sea Alaska. Yeah, and that donation, with a company like that, they're all about passion and about helping people. And I said, I want to help the indigenous youth in Alaska. And so there's a program in place with Sea Alaska where it's the Alaska Native Youth Snow Sports Program that gets indigenous kids up on the mountain at Eagle Crest to learn how to ski and snowboard. And that's what we put the donation to. And so just as much as I'm proud of the shoes and the whole collaboration, I'm really proud that we could do that and help the youth and get them going in the right track.
Great, thank you. I'm glad you mentioned that. I was gonna lead into that. Just for sort of more context for you guys, the work that James did, you think about kids that would have never had this opportunity, right? Because it's expensive to snowboard. It's expensive to to buy the ski passes, and so through where's Anthony? Anthony there in the back. Anthony was really instrumental in working with James, and we were really honored that we could do this, and it's something that we're going to do going forward. And so we did a short story about it on Sea Alaska's website, but yeah, definitely thank you, James, for that, because I think that the excitement and the partnerships that we were able to build through Eagle Crest up there, I think will continue, and it'll be part of James's legacy. Tell us, James, like you mentioned, your father was really instrumental in getting you involved in the art. Tell us a little bit about that and what motivates you now. Are there, as you were learning the art form, were there particular artists that you were interested in, or what helped you shape who you are today as an artist?
Yeah, I took care of, I lived down here in Phoenix for the last 16 years. I took care of both of my parents down here before they passed. And having that time with my dad and my mom was incredible. It's a gift. I have an 11-year-old son, Elias, that he had to have a good relationship with both of my parents. But my dad, when I got down here, I wanted to learn the art form. And he grew up in a time, like most people in his age, they went through this time frame where there's our culture and our traditions, everything was settled. And this knowledge that had gone, passed on for generations, stopped right there. And so when I said I want to become a Tlingit carver, an artist, and I want to carry on the stories of my grandfathers, the stories of our ancestors, he was completely supportive of it. And he was in Alaska at the time. It's kind of funny because I lived here, and he shipped me 3 big, giant cedar logs freight from Alaska. And they'd show up, he sent it 3 different times he sent it. And I remember after the 3rd log, I was at a freight company. It was just a 300-pound, 5-foot-tall yellow cedar log wrapped onto a crate. And I showed up, and the guy's like, I gotta ask you, you're the only person ever that's had a log shipped from Alaska down here? He's like, what do you do? And I told him, but that stuff, I've carved all those logs through. I've left actually the last quarter of the last one, and that's my workstation that I use now to ads on. But my dad was, just really supportive of it, really instrumental and giving me that nudge saying, go after this, because I think most people are searching, we're always searching for what's our purpose in life? What are we meant to be doing every day? And for me, the art form, that's my purpose. That's what I'm meant to be doing with my life. And I've dedicated my whole life to this art form and pushing this forward, pushing our culture forward. And so I'm lucky because it's a gift. It's a gift to be able to do these things and create these objects and carry this forward. And so I'm not taking that for granted at all. I'm going to push it as hard as I can while I can, and bring this back up. But yeah, I thank my dad for sure for being instrumental in that early days.
That's really cool. That's really powerful. I think that I think there's a special place for artists. There always has been, right, with our people, and I think James really embodies a lot of that right now. And you're seeing kind of the resurgence of folks in his age group that are really going to take the torch from the people that, the folks that have kept it alive. I was curious though, with being down here and just access to wood, and just kind of a lead into that. That's for Sea Alaska. That's one of the big things that Jaylene and Anthony focus on. It's just how do we maintain the art can't be maintained if we don't have access to cedar, right? It can't be maintained if we're not able to be able to go out and harvest things that we could do normally. And so we've made it a really concerted effort on trying to build the relationships with the right organizations to make sure we can get wood. So how aside from not having your dad be able to help you what do you do right now to get access to wood?
Well, I'll tell you, it's 22 hours from here up to BC driving. Right. I've done that 4 times to get Cedar. So every time I'm there, if I'm in, I teach at Port Townsend, the School of War in Port Townsend. I work at the Burke Museum in Seattle as well. So I'm in the Pacific Northwest pretty often, and I'm always looking for cedar. And like I was at the Burke Museum on a research grant this last fall, and a bunch of cedar popped up online I saw, and I went to the guy and I canceled my return flight and rented a car and packed that rental car to the gills. I couldn't even see out my rear window or my passenger window. It was just loaded with red cedar, and brought it back to the car. So like as an artist down here, like yeah, we need old growth. We need old growth, stable red cedar for sure.
What kind of projects are you working on right now?
Kind of carving wise, I'm carving. I'm really fascinated by goat horn spoons and Dall sheep horn spoons. I was teaching in Valdez, Alaska last spring at the schools there, and Valdez is a really small community, and I was teaching at all 3 schools and talking about the art form, talking about the culture, and it's such a small community that word from the kids got around about the art that I was talking about, and that week I had 4 Dall sheep horns come into the school, and 1 mountain goat horn came in. People donated it for me to carve, which is incredible. Because that art form, it's so hard to get the material, you know. And I just recently I buy someone's mountain goat trophy horns. I buy it as a trophy. They sell it as a trophy for big money. I buy it and take the horns off. You know? And so I'm carving that right now, and it's stuff like that, you know, like the traditional pieces. That's what I want to pursue, and that's what I'm fascinated by. But from my work with Dan's, my work with all these global brands, I've been working with the United Nations for the last 6 months, and we've been putting together guidelines for indigenous artists to work within the fashion industry. And this is bigger than just Northwest Coast and Tlingit Art. This is a global initiative that the United Nations has, where they're going to protect indigenous artists and protect the culture. And if an artist wants to work with a brand, they're going to say these are the guidelines for what a healthy relationship looks like. And actually on Tuesday, I'm actually flying to Switzerland, and we're presenting these guidelines to key people in the fashion industry. And they asked me to be a guest speaker at that event. So I'm really excited to go do that and advocate for indigenous artists. So quite a big plate happening right now.
Yeah, it seems like, and part of James's accomplishments, he was at the Celebration 2022. You were recognized by SHI's Northwest Coaster Art Show and competition for the carving and sculpture category. And that hat honors your great grandfather. Can you tell us a little bit about that, and you know, kind of the passion that went into doing that work?
Yeah, I mean, Celebration, like I do a lot of art shows kind of all over the country, and the Celebration art show is like the pinnacle. That's the most important one. I always make sure to turn in my best work for that show. No matter what's happening, that's the show I want to be in. When I first started, you know, it was such an honor to even get into the show. It's you know, and yeah, I'm fortunate to, you know, have work recognized. But you know, it's form line and carving, and the art form it's hard, you know, and we're not going to ever master it. It's going to take our whole life to get to this point. You know, we're all, as a carver, you know, we're all going to pass on too with unfinished work sitting in front of us, you know. But then it has to continue on past it. And so sharing the knowledge you have and sharing, you know, what you know and passing on to the next generation is important. But Sealaska, with, you know, the Celebration show, you know, that's so prestigious, and like, you know, I'm always honored to be in that show, you know, every 2 years.
So that you mentioned that the work that you're doing with going international and working with all these global brands. One of the things that James was able to do just recently was work with Eddie Vedder, and I'm sure any music fan knows Eddie Vedder. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what that was like? Yeah,
it's man, I started getting these emails from people, and I always think it's like spam. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, Eddie Vedder, like, right? You know, but sure enough. he just held a big music fest in San Diego earlier this month. And they do a big art show that goes with the music fest, and they asked me to be an artist in that show, which was cool because like being down here in the Southwest, you know, I want to take Tlingit art and I want to show it to places where it hasn't been seen before, you know. And so like, you know, I had 2 shows in that, and, you know, in San Diego at Eddie Vedder's event, and like it's so cool to be able to showcase that and showcase the artwork of our people and share it. But yeah, my wife was really excited about Eddie Vedder, I think more than I was. So she's a big Pearl Jam fan.
That's cool. Yeah, well, you know, the reason why we wanted to have James up here today is just because we're really, you know, we want to honor the people that like James that are really continuing the arts and the traditions. And so James, we really appreciate you just coming out and spending some time with us. You know, obviously we had a chance to work together on the event for the kids in Juneau, and James will be helping us in some other events down here. And so any closing thoughts for the folks that showed up today?
No, this is just such a great thing to see everyone's faces, like, because, you know, even though we're out of Alaska, and, you know, that's home, but it's all about community, you know, and coming together like this is really important. And being down here, you often feel like you're alone, you know, and so having something like this is just so great to see everyone be here today. So yeah, Goose Chief, thank you all for being here. It's such a great thing. Thank you, Anthony, for setting this up.
Right. Thank you, James. That was good, Dan.